All right. Guys, I'm not obviously at class today, so the video here is your directions to kind of go through to make sure you understand how to complete this activity, which is called Track a Drifter. So we're going to go through this on here, give you all the directions. I then posted this same video on Classroom. So if you need to go back at any point today and watch a video or watch part of it again, it's there for you to do. It's not going to be homework if you don't finish, but my guess is that you should be able to get through this if you're working efficiently together. So the big question that I know everyone wants to know to start with is, can we work together in groups? And here's how it's going to work. The substitute teacher will set a timer for about 10 to 15 minutes, their choice. If you are able to work for 10 or 15 minutes on your own to start, then they can allow you to work in groups for the second half of class. But you guys have to earn it first, all right? And then when you're in groups, make sure your groups are not any larger than 3 people. All right, Track a Drifter. You have the sheets in front of you. Let's go through it here. As I read the top, follow along on your sheet. Each of these charts has data from a drifter. Choose one of the drifters, plot each of its positions on the chart with a dot. Label the date next to each position, or give it a letter to identify it. After plotting each position, connect the points. This is a drifter track. Sometimes a latitude or longitude measurement will have a minus sign before the numbers. The minus sign before latitude means the point is south of the equator. The minus sign before the longitude means the point is west of the prime meridian. All right, a lot of stuff in there, so let's go through a little bit of this. This is a drifter, right? We talked about it, mentioned in class yesterday. It's a buoy. There's GPS on here that they were able to track. All the data is here for you. There are 2 different drifters. You are picking just one. You're doing either drifter number 1 or drifter number 2. Okay, drifter 1 or drifter number 2. You'll notice it gives you dates. It gives you the latitude and the longitude. And let's talk about these negative numbers like it's set up there. This is a lot easier than the review worksheet you did because it's going to keep you all on one part of the world instead of going all over the country, or I'm sorry, all over the world. So if you look, they're all positive numbers and they're all fairly close to each other for the latitude. That's north. So that means they're all above the equator because they're positive numbers. The longitude are all negative numbers, and that's because they're in the western hemisphere. So they're west of the prime meridian. So when we look at the map, that is your second page, and let me flip it here. When we look at the map, here are your lines of latitude that are above the equator. So the equator is somewhere down here, you're above it. Here's 20 degrees, 25, 30. So you're all kind of like into here. These little dots are there for you to mark your points. And when you look at the longitude, right down here, again, they don't show negative numbers like it did on the chart because it's in the western hemisphere. So it's almost like you can just ignore those negative numbers. So when you're looking at the map here then, when you plot your points, and when you use your lines of latitude, they have these dots here because they're going to help you kind of make the marks. Okay? So let's just say that you end up plotting one and one of them's here. So you'll just mark on your map where that spot is, and then you're going to put a number 1 because we need to keep track of the path from where it starts to where it goes next to where it goes after that, so on and so on. So I put a little line or a number 1 here underneath it. I know it's a little bit hard to see on the screen, but I put a number 1 there to show you that was my first plot. That's because that came from, flip this back around, here. Okay. Let's go through and let's actually put numbers for each of the plots. There's 10 of them. So I just numbered that 1 through 10. If you do drifter number 2, it's the same thing. Just number them 2, number them 1 through 10. Okay, take a second, do that now. Okay, so after you have all of your plots marked on the map, you can now come back to your chart here, and let's say you're working on Drifter 1. The next thing they want is the speed in miles per hour. So I don't know how many of you remember how to calculate the rate of an object with speed or velocity, but it's a simple formula. You're allowed to use your calculators for this today. The formula is simple. It's just distance divided by time. Okay? Distance divided by time equals speed. If you even want to write that on your sheet, you can. So it's pretty simple because they give you distance and they give you time. Okay? You can use a calculator, like I said, to help you with this. That should give you the speed. For the direction, that's why it's important to number your plots so that you can see where it started and where it ended. Your directions are north, south, east, west, and the intermediate directions as well if you need them, like northwest, northeast, southeast, southwest. That's what you will write in direction. Once you finish the chart and the map, the last thing for you to work on today is on the back of the map. And there are 7 questions for you to go through and answer on the back. Okay? All right. Hopefully that's clear. Again, this is going to be on Classroom for you if you need it, to go back to watch any parts of it, to look at directions or anything. Also, make sure that you are working on this, you're being efficient, and that you are behaving in class. All right, I will be back tomorrow. See you.